Hello, I am Cindy Mapp, Director of Library Sales at Penguin Random House, and I am going to preview the upcoming summer-fall Random House children's titles. Starting with Young Adult, I am so excited to start Random House's library preview with a look at Christopher Paolini's return to the world of Aragon. This epic fantasy is set a year after the events of the Inheritance Cycle. Murtagh is a full-length, standalone novel set in the world of Aragon, following the exiled dragon rider and Aragon's brother Murtagh and his dragon throne. Fans will be delighted to return to the world of Aragon, or readers new to the world can start here. And also celebrating 20 years of Aragon, we are releasing an illustrated edition packed with full-color paintings. One of Us is Back, the third book in Karen McManus's best-selling YA series. First, the Bayview Four had to prove they weren't killers. Then a new generation outwitted a vengeful copycat. Now the entire Bayview crew is back home for the summer and everyone is trying to move on. But someone from the Bayview Four's past resurfaces and history begins to repeat itself, and the consequences are deadly. Elizabeth Lim spins a standalone tale of two sisters who must fight to save each other when a betrothal contest has gone wrong and unleashes an evil that could sever their bond forever. This fantasy is set in the same universe as Six Crimson Cranes and is everything you expect from Elizabeth Lim. Fairy tale elements, twisty drama, enemies to lover romance, and betrayal. Think Beauty and the Beast meets the sisters Medusa and Helen of Troy with a mixture of Western mythology and Asian folklore mashups. Deb Kalonji is a powerful voice in YA fiction who tackles deep, relevant topics with heart and nuance. Almost ripped from the headlines, this is a transformational journey of a 16-year-old girl traveling across the country to get an abortion. This is authentic and powerful, and this is a journey of vulnerability, strength, and above all, choice, which is a timely topic about body autonomy and choice. Plan A will have an adult crossover. From one of our best-selling authors, David Levithan, comes this contemporary LGBTQ romance, a witty, warm-hearted tale of teenage love, queer identity, and self-acceptance. Ryan and Avery were background characters from Two Boys Kissing, which is celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. This is a standalone novel about the first 10 days of dating, drive-in movies, an unexpected snow day, and meeting the parents. My Father, the Panda Killer is the beginning of a new duology of a girl, her father, and the accidental murder of a panda. Vietnamese YA debut author Jamie Ho tells a poignant coming-of-age story told in two alternating voices. A California teen in 1999 railing against her Vietnamese culture, juxtaposed with her father in 1975 as an 11-year-old boat person on a traumatic refugee journey from Vietnam to the United States. The next book in this duology will feature the brother and their mother. From debut author Lisa Springer comes There's No Way I'll Die First, a spine-tingling contemporary horror novel that follows an obsessed scary movie fan as she hosts an elaborate Halloween bash, complete with a Stephen King theme. As the festivities go awry, she and her guests are forced to test their survival skills in a deadly game. For readers who like a little bit of everything, slashers, black comedy, romantic subplots, and social comedy. Horror, thrillers, retellings, and Karen McManus read-alikes are all in these original trade paperbacks for teens. The Haunting. Best-selling author Natasha Preston is back with another fast-paced, twisty read set during Halloween. Monstrous, for fans looking for more diverse voices in horror from the author of Bad Witch Burning, Jessica Lewis brings us another pulse-pounding novel perfect for fans of Lovecraft country. The Society of Soulless Girls is a fresh, twisty retelling of Jekyll and Hyde. In this dark, academic, sapphic, enemies-to-lover thrillers, two roommates must solve a cold case of serial murders on their campus after a secret ritual prompts another death. In Win, Lose, or Die, historic Morton Academy boarding school is known for their high academic achievers, but the body count is rising. This is a high school slasher with a lethal twist, perfect for fans of Holly Jackson. Her Dark Wings was a Waterstones YA best-selling book for 2022, described as Cirque for teens, a powerful, passionate reimagining of Persephone myth told from a feminist perspective. Moving on to picture books. From best-selling, award-winning creative team Michael Dachner and Frank Morris, they weave together the lives of a modern Black family in a historically Black neighborhood. Told in two parallel stories, it chronicles the adventures of a Black 4-year-old named Harlem and her father as they walk the streets of Harlem and reveal the history of this thriving New York City neighborhood that she's named after. From Malcolm X and John Coltrane to Miles Davis to Tupac Shakur, this book is overflowing with references to Harlem's history with extensive back matter. Through Vanessa Brentley Newton's trademark art of fabric collage, this is a heartwarming picture book about how one little girl's unique beauty has grown for generations in her family tree. Grandma's special set of nesting dolls feature her Gullah Geechee family and shows what's on the outside doesn't always tell the whole story. While together they may be distinct, the family's beauty and inner strength have deep roots that have been growing within each of them for generations. And be sure to check out Penguin Random House Storytime website featuring Vanessa and other authors reading their picture books for Storytime. You can download these videos anytime for your library. A hare, fox, deer, and bear can't wait to get their hands on an apple. Soon the winds huff and puff and the branches snips and snaps and down the apple falls. This rhythmic read aloud features a series of hilarious, selfish forest animals depicted in Eric Roman's distinctive woodcut illustration style and is perfect for story times. Kids will love repeating the refrain, mine, complete with an ending that celebrates sharing and is sure to surprise everyone. Stickler Loves the World, written and illustrated by Lane Smith. Through fresh eyes, Stickler, a woodland creature, is covered in sticks, who reminds us to appreciate the everyday wonders we often ignore and encourages awareness and mindfulness with a joyous and lighthearted touch. This picture book is both silly and sweet, and readers will find Stickler's enthusiasm irresistible. From the creators of My First Day, which received 5-starred reviews and was selected as a Best Book of the Year by Kirkus and SLJ, My Grandfather's Story is a beautifully illustrated picture book that creates a warm symphony of conservation and the sacred bond between a grandparent and a grandchild. Ideas include the power of family connections to their land, their home, and each other, as well as gratitude for the earth in all in the setting of Vietnam. Window Fishing is a heartwarming story about finding the joy in art and an intergenerational friendship, illustrated by Caldecott Honor artist Rudy Gutierrez. From the lockdown of COVID, an artist hears the tap, tap, tap of a paperclip outside his window and has the idea of painting paper fish for the young boy who lives above him to play a game of fishing. This is a great celebration of art, creativity, and imagination. Celebrate pride in Muslim identity with this beautiful story of community, family, and acceptance. A boy named Muhammad receives a special salat rug on his 7th birthday. One salat happens during the school day, and he worries he will be mocked as he's seen it happen to his father before. With help from his teacher, he finds the perfect place to pray and becomes empowered by his faith. Salat in Secret fills a need for more books about Muslim everyday life and the positive role models of teachers and parents. Good books for bad children. In this picture book biography, meet the groundbreaking, outspoken, legendary editor of some of the best-loved books for children, Ursula Nordstrom. Her special talent was that she never forgot what it was like to be a kid. See how she inspired Mari Sendek, Margaret Rice Brown, and others to create books like Where the Wild Things Are, Goodnight Moon, and many more classics. The back matter includes an author's note with other resources. What's Inside a Caterpillar Cocoon is the follow-up to What's Inside a Flower. Rachel Ignowski's distinctive art style and engaging informational text clearly answers any questions a child could have about these butterflies and moths in this nonfiction picture book. Find out more about these mysterious and majestic insects, their similarities and differences, and their metamorphosis. Her next book in the series will be What's Inside a Nest, due in 2024, and will explore eggs, nests, and birds. And more nonfiction picture books. Beautiful Noise is the music of John Cage, who was a pioneering composer who believed all sound, from the crash of a slamming door to the whirl of a blender, was music. This picture book biography is illustrated by Il Sung Na in a new artistic style to show off John Cage's creativity, celebrating his genius of a non-conforming musician who always stayed true to his artistic vision. Bees of Notre Dame. This is a narrative nonfiction picture book telling the fascinating story of the honeybee colonies that lived on the roof of the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris and survived the devastating fire in 2019. In Thank You Moon, this combines the soothing rhythm of a bedtime story with the scientific wonder of a nature documentary. Celebrate the moon and all its creatures who rely on its light to find their way home. Melissa Stewart is a trusted authority in STEM education and nonfiction for kids. Think Planet Earth meets Goodnight Moon. These are more picture books that need to be on your library shelves. First up is Ice Cream Vanishes. The Most Amazing Squirrel and their lovely assistant bear are here to make snacks and ice cream disappear. A deliciously funny picture book from the award-winning creator of The Bear Ate Your Sandwich. A great read aloud for story time where kids are in on the joke. Rocket Says Speak Up is the third book in the Rocket series. Rocket is rallying her community to save their town library. Speak Up shows that through peaceful protest and spreading awareness that one person can make a difference. And in If You Get Lost, it's a gentle read aloud, a modern-day Velveteen Rabbit. A stuffed bunny comes back to life after getting lost on a family's camping trip and then finds its way back to his lost child. New seasonal titles, old favorite characters, and a few new ones too. How the Grinch Lost Christmas takes place 1 year after the original Grinch story. The Grinch is out to prove to the Whos of Whoville that he has really changed. This is written in the same Seussian style. It's Not Easy Being Santa Claus. It's by the author of It's Not Easy Being a Bunny. This is a new series of books that will take a look at holiday icons and the comical attempts to find happiness, only to discover that it's always best just being themselves. Stories kids can relate to about overcoming obstacles and being yourself. Otto the Ornament is a new holiday character by Troy Cummings, the author of Can I Be Your Dog? This is an original holiday story about Otto, a snazzy Christmas ornament who tries to find a tree on which he can shine the brightest. It's full of clever puns, wordplay, and humor, wrapped up with a heartfelt message. Just in time to celebrate Spanish Heritage Month this September, all ages from board books to early readers and picture books, I will highlight a few of our simultaneous English-Spanish editions, which includes Cantora, a meticulously researched and fact-checked biography. It tells the story of Latin American folk singer Mercedes Sosa and how she became the voice of the people, showing young people that one voice can matter. Pepita Meets Babita is welcoming a new baby, which can always be hard, especially when you're used to being the center of attention. This is a sweet, hilarious read aloud told from the puppy's point of view. And then Esperanza Camela is a Christmas story rooted in Mexican tradition and where the holiday cake topper comes to life in the bakery. Think Dona Flor meets the Nutcracker in the celebration of Noche Buena. And then we also have Celebrate the Dead board book, perfect format to introduce the youngest readers to this holiday. Next up, we're moving on to chapter books in middle grade. New A to Z Animal Mysteries, inspired by Ron Roy's A to Z Mysteries series, featuring a more diverse cast of characters. These are full 4-color chapter books with shorter chapters that read slightly younger than the original series. They're modern animal adventure stories which are perfect for young chapter book readers. New Magic Treehouse Time of the Turtle King is just a regular day when ordinary kids Jack and Annie are whisked away on the Magic Treehouse to go to the Galapagos Island, where they must save a sea turtle from an erupting volcano. Race to the Truth is a new nonfiction series in which each book tells the story of America from the perspective of a different marginalized community. These books fill a need for high-interest, low-level, middle-grade nonfiction written by the communities most impacted by these historical events. This middle-grade history series gives an unflinching account of America's history while celebrating underrepresented heroes and their achievements. 2 titles to start this season and 1 per season in the future. Welcome to another wild adventure in Carl Hiaasen's Florida. This fast-paced, high-stakes, humorous thriller is set during the pandemic. It's a ripped out of the headline story with political bad guys, shipwrecks, smugglers, and, dare I say, pooping iguanas. Offbeat, snarky, and smart. Think of Netflix Outer Banks series for a younger audience. This is perfect for reluctant readers. I am so excited to share Jeannie Duprow's new book as she explores timely questions about Earth and our use of its resources. A bold novel, Project F, asks how much you are willing to risk to save the future. In this speculative post-apocalyptic fiction set 100 years in the future, climate change has wreaked havoc on Earth, and now people are living a much simpler life. A 13-year-old boy who is enchanted by past history's technology must choose between doing the right thing for his community or pursuing his dream of the adventure to fly. This story is about our climate crisis, but with a hopeful outcome. Fantasy. The Evers, Forever 12. Stacey McNulty asks readers to imagine what they'd do if they could live forever. Told from 3 points of view, kids are trying to figure out how they survived for hundreds of years and are searching for the secret of their immortality. The Dark Lord's Daughter is from Patricia Reed, the author of Dealing with Dragons. It's a timeless portal fantasy about an ordinary girl, Kayla, who is from Earth, and she discovers that she is heir to the Dark Throne. Alex Wise versus the End of the World is a series starter about a 12-year-old boy who tries to stop the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse from taking over the world. And Like a Charm, Elle McNichol of A Kind of Spark is a neurodivergent tween. Ramir uncovers a world of mystery and magic where vampires and monsters are real, and she's the only one who can see them. Continuing on with middle grade, Tiger Daughter is a first-generation Chinese immigrant story, equal parts heartbreaking and hopeful. This story does not shy away from tackling heavy topics around mental health, parental pressure, and racial abuse, but it also weaves in tender moments full of compassion and hope. This is a coming-of-age novel that will grab hold of you and not let go. Once in a Blue Moon is from the 3-time Coretta Scott King Honor winner Sharon Flake. A poignant story told in verse about a young boy's journey from guilt to acceptance to healing. Set in 1939, James will need to confront the truth about what happened that night his mother disappeared. PSTD, anxiety, and agoraphobia is not mentioned directly in the story about the young boy's journey from guilt to acceptance. Mr. Whiskers and the Shenanigan Sisters is a new middle grade mystery from Wendelin Van Dramen of the Sammy Keys series. Mr. Whiskers is a streetwise stray dog detective with a nose for trouble, perfect for beginning and reluctant readers. This middle grade mystery has a compelling plot, short chapters, and a cliffhanger endings to keep kids turning the pages. And Something Like Home from the Newbery Honor winning author of Ivelisse Explains It All, Andrea Beatrice Arango writes a moving novel in verse in which a lost dog helps a lonely girl find a way home to her family, only to find themselves in their own family along. Graphic novels and hybrid graphic novels. We have total of 25 of these coming between the months of June and December. Many continuing series include Magic Treehouse, A New Baby Mouse, Max Meow, Sweet Valley Twins, and A New Cardboard Kingdom. But I'm only going to highlight a few here. The Stupendous Switcheroo. What would happen if you woke up every single day with a different surprise superpower? This is from the creator of the Cardboard Kingdom, and it's a new hybrid graphic novel series for fans of Max and the Midnights. Knell of Grumbling is told in diary format. It's a hybrid graphic novel mashup of contemporary realism, drama, magic, and fantasy. And Escape from Mr. Lemoncello's Library. The best-selling book is now a full-color, fun-packed graphic novel. 2023 is the year of Mr. Lemoncello, celebrating its 10th anniversary of the novel. And lastly is Tasty, a nonfiction graphic novel that explores the history of food filled with facts, legends, and recipes. It's the companion to Yummy, which was a food-related nonfiction graphic novel. New from Charlesbridge. Two new stories from Charlesbridge focusing on Indigenous stories. First up is Mascot, with two of our best-selling biopic authors, Charles Waters and Tracy Sorrell. They're tackling a hot-button issue. What if the school's mascot is seen as racist, but not by everyone? In this compelling middle-grade novel, it is told in verse from several different perspectives. Readers will see how each student comes to new understanding about identity, tradition, and what it means to stand up for a real change. Stand as Tall as Trees is available in both English and Spanish. This is an inspiring true story about how an activist in the Amazon worked with other indigenous communities to protect and preserve their sacred lands and forests. Patricia Gungle is the subject of the book and is the co-author. She tells her own powerful story from the first-person viewpoint. A new series from Charlesbridge, Hands-on Science. Welcome to the Science Lab, where you can touch, tap, shake, and press everyday objects on display. Just open the book to begin. This new series takes the interactive elements of the book Press Here and combines it with the education of Bill Nye, the Science Guy. In this new STEM series, and bring science to life. Matter and Geology are the first two in the series, and Motion will be out in spring of 24. A few new titles from Tundra. Ploof, from the creator of Narwhal and Jelly. Meet a friendly cloud full of feelings in this interactive picture book. Follow the cues to say hello, clap, bow, blow, shake, wave, or make a funny face. Young readers will learn social emotional skills like empathy, encouragement, and kindness through Ploof's emotional journey, and along the way, they'll learn how to be a fantastic friend. And then more from Narwhal and Jelly. We have the super scary Narwhaloween, which is book 8 in the series, where you find Narwhal and Jelly facing their fears. And then out in paper for the first time is Narwhalicon and Jelly. And a few picture books from Tundra. First off is Dim Sum Palace, a debut picture book about a girl whose love of dim sum spills over in her dreams, taking her on a fantastical, food-filled adventure. This dream adventure of a small child in a big kitchen is as Taiwanese-American diverse homage to the classic Maurice Sendak In the Night Kitchen. Three Little Mittens finds a single mitten feeling left out among all of her paired friends until a little girl decides that her mittens don't actually have to match. This is an endearing picture book about friendship, belonging, and the pressure to match. And then a little book of Bronte's, based on a true story of the Bronte siblings when they wrote and illustrated tiny books set in imaginary worlds. This includes an author note timeline of the Brontes' lives and a fun craft and instructions on creating your own little books. Thank you for listening.